So Saturday, December 5th, it's DJ Illusion hosted by Chris Harding, friend of the show. Nice. Working the most. Do you want to give a shout out to the members of the band? I mean, just talk a little bit more about what their contributions are and.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I could name them off, but it sounds cooler if coming from you guys.
Yeah, Alex Slay, our drummer, did a great job in the studio. I had wondered how he would do, and he shined. He did a great job.
I mean, we came through our history, we'll call it. There's a lot of when I bring in a song that we're working on, it'll have the drums already programmed. And going back years ago, our drummer wins best drummer. Well, it should have been my award for programming the best drums, whatever. But we don't care about that. It's the whole intent, the whole feeling of the song. And Alex picks it up like that. He did a great job. And for us, we added a new guitar player. We're kind of in and out of guitar players. So we were kind of going, wow, I don't know if Jeff Smith is going to cut it in the studio because we've never worked with him in the studio. But he went in and knocked it out real quick. And then our bass player, Richie, knocked it out also. So as a band as a whole, we work well together. And, we just have one curse on us right now, and that's the Jeff Smith curse. Since he's joined, every gig we've had has been canceled because of COVID.
You're right. We still have yet to play a show with Jeff. We've tried all year long. It just hasn't happened. So don't jinx us. Don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Right, yeah.
We need to have this show. So for a whole lot of reasons.
So do y'all have a favorite album? Out of the the ones in the catalog. I mean, is there one that you or reason one that kind of you just remember fondly working on?
Wow, that's a hell of a question right there. Let me tell you. And for me, it would be the one we just did, simply because there was more factors. Number one, Thomas and I had complete control. There was nobody telling us we had to do it, this way or that way, or another guy who's a producer or whatever saying do it this way. It was ours. And we also had the goal of, we've always been told that we had to have somebody else. And, in my head, I didn't need anybody else. I just needed somebody to keep me, like I said, Thomas keeps me in line. He keeps me focused on what I need to do. And then from there, we could, he knows a good song when he hears it, as do I. And from that point, it was just, as he said, finding the right person to work with. So we have band members that are great, but finding an engineer here in town that does the same thing and not being afraid to reach out and find someone like Will Work Wild to mix the record. Those are things that most bands will say, hell no, I'm not doing that. But, got to make the big jump in order to get a big gain. So,
agreed.
Now, can you all imagine doing this without your brother? I mean, that's obviously, you all have been in the band since day one. I mean, obviously been performing again, obviously been living together, grew up together. Have you all ever thought about, obviously that's obviously the vocal harmony, and there's a lot of reasons why I think the brother thing dynamic has actually really worked well for y'all. But, what would it be like if you didn't have Jeff, or if Jeff, you didn't have Thomas?
I don't think that there would be a band anymore after we got dropped from Universal. That would have been it. Everyone would like what happened. Everybody went their own way. The drummer Max went to Los Angeles and started a marketing company. Brian, the bass player, started he
does audio for, whether History Channel, all these different things. He's at the Galapagos Islands one day somewhere. He's always doing that stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, but he started a company and stuff like that. So I would think the brother thing is it. You have to learn what buttons you can push and which ones you can't. You can't always say that's that's part of understanding and recognizing chemistry. If you can't do that, then that's why bands implode and break up, because they say and do the wrong things. And if you learn enough over time, all right, well, if you don't like this, then you need to say it in a manner where it's not offensive. And a lot of times people just blurt it out. I don't like that. That sucks. And I'm like, you don't tell somebody that. You figure out another way around it, and you're constructive about it, and 9 times out of 10, you make the change that's better for the song, and without stepping on anybody's feelings or any, what I mean? It's just common sense, but a lot of times that's missing in things like that. And so, we have a good rapport when it comes to that, and, a checks and balances system, if you will, something like that.
We have good members now, too, who don't take it personally when, they get told that their part isn't, it's not going to cut it. They don't take it personal. They're looking past, their own personal gain. What the goal is, let's make this band the best we can do. make the song the best we can. And so, before we might have had a problem with that in our previous history, but it ain't like that right now. Right now, it's all about let's just make the best song we can make.
Yep. And don't underestimate the, having good communication in the band and letting people know what's going on. I think genuinely some of the guys get tired of me calling them all the time, but that's the only way I found that's how you make things work. You got to talk to people. You got to talk it out. You got to, sometimes I can be overwhelming with that kind of stuff. I don't like texting. I like to talk to people. And that's how you create understandings and you can get past hurt feelings, or how do you know if someone's feelings hurt? You can send a text message with one intent and they read it the wrong way.
True,
and, so I try not to do that. Text messages are for rehearsals at 7:00. See you. You can't read anything into that, but that's just me. I'm just that way. So hopefully it
so
works.
if it's more than 3 sentences, call them, huh?
Yeah, I'm just joking sometimes. Like the guy that makes our videos, I'll end up calling him 10 times a day, and I'm like, I'm sorry, dude, I'll try not to call you tomorrow or whatever. But, it's like, no, it's good. I appreciate it. I need the motivation and I need the feedback and those kind of things. So that's, what I bring to the table.
Yep. I tell the other guys in the band all the time. It's like, Thomas challenged me last night, and Thomas doesn't go, hey, I'm challenging you to do this. He goes, I think you should write the song and do this to it. And for me, that's an instant challenge. And I'm not leaving until it's done. I leave here sometimes 3 or 4 in the morning, whatever, because that, for me, that's like, all right, I can do this. Because I don't think when I'm writing songs or, working on music, there's nothing that I can't do if I really don't want to do it. So, that's why I said he is my Yoda. That's what I call it. He keeps me pointing in the right direction. And, that challenge is what I need to keep my ass working.
Well, whatever it is, it works right now for us. So we're not going to rock the boat. We'll see what we can come up with. I cannot imagine a scenario where we don't at least release one more record in the very near future. So, to be relevant today, you have to have content. You have to keep releasing it. And then so far we've done it. We've released a video every week. And most people are like, man, how did you do that? I mean, it was a lot of setup and discussion. And, there was a plan moving forward. And we're just going to keep doing that. And hopefully by the time the next record comes out, we will have resurrected whatever's left of our audience and built a new one to combine with it, and then we can really, receive the benefits of it on the next record. That's the plan. We'll see what happens if a record label comes into it becomes a possibility. Then we'll explore it. That'd be great. But for now, we're fine with moving forward on our own. Yep.
I'm a firm believer, to close the whole record label thing up, that they don't like smart guys. They don't like guys who've been around the business, who know the business, who know, they don't want anybody, because we learned the hard way that if you push the button the wrong way, you can get the kick out the door no matter who you are. And that's why now, doing things on our own, it's not a bad thing for us. That's a good thing, because we control our own destiny right now. The work we put in is what we'll get out.
Yeah, maybe a distribution deal is the way to do it. I don't know. We'll jump off that bridge when we get to it. That's how I look at it.
So why a self-titled album? Why calling the album The Hunger?
It was either going to be called The Hunger or it was going to be called Therapy. To me, there seemed no other way around it. And I'm like, look, we've never made a self-titled album, and the few self-titled albums that I could think of all did really well.
Right.
Let's just take a chance and self-title it, even though some may not understand what we're doing. I think that was a calculated risk.
Yeah, and for me, it was also the fact that, we do have history. We're not talking about how long that history is or how old we are, but our history also involved the same kind of practice and, recording a record, setting it up, the people involved. And this was the first time that Thomas and I got to do it without anyone's input. We didn't have the same players in the game. So that whole thing of going back to say, to prove to not only myself, but to other people that we could have did this all along and we can do it without you. For me, in my world, that was a big thing because as we were driving back and forth to the studio, which is, an hour and a half, whatever, that conversation would come up. And I'm like, I want to prove to people that, we didn't need this guy, whoever this guy might have been, to do this. We can do it on our own without them.
So you had a little edge.
A little bit, yeah.
Well, you got to use that for, that's
it helps to have a chip on your shoulder sometimes,
Amen. I agree. So the next album, would that be 2? or
No, obviously that one's going to have a working title, but it remains to be seen what it will be. But yeah, we won't have another. Who knows? I mean, the developed material falls in line with what we're doing, but it's slightly different, and so we're going to try to keep the theme as long as it stays interesting. We'll stay with it.
Awesome. I'm always curious about the process. I was going to ask about the process with coming up with lyrics. You kind of mentioned that you start with GarageBand. Do you have a journal? Do you type into your phone? I mean, are you constantly making notes, or how's that work? I mean, you get an idea and you try to write it down before you forget?
Well, I think myself, I write from the reverse of what some people do. A lot of people go, well, let's work on this sound. I usually start directly with the melody. So whatever the melody may be, it's already cranking in my head. The wheels are turning. I can sing it along, and I already know the notes, what I want to do with them. The topics, back in the old days, it was much harder to find a topic and really explore it. Google can do everything now if you really wanted to. So, I carry my big purple book around, and I literally, I'll rhyme scheme for a while, and, I put down thousands of words, real small, looks like hieroglyphics almost, and then I work my way around, melody, the lyrical content. But it's so much, the depth that you can get into now compared to, 20 years ago. It's night and day. And then, there's just those great songwriters out there. And I look now more into the lyrical content than I ever did, way back when. Back when it was just, let's have a good time and party.
Right. Excellent. What about the names of the songs, names of the albums, even the artwork on the albums? I mean, Devil Thumbs a Ride, that's one of my favorite album covers. I don't know why. Maybe, but I've always really enjoyed that one. I mean, do you just reach out to artists? Do you give input? How does that work?
Well, both. Like with Devil Thumbs a Ride, their Uncle Charlie, he was a local artist, and he used to make concert posters for Pace concerts. So
Okay.
We really liked this work, and he lives in the Heights, and we figured out how to get in touch with them and had a conversation. He's like, yeah, I dig it. I'll work with you. And so we kind of went back and forth, and the album has a lot of primary colors, and it's not. Kids can look at it and it's not offensive, but it still is interesting enough. And a lot of people got it tattooed on them, things like that.
Nice.
They show it to us at the shows.
That was all his work. That that what you see as far as Devil Thumbs a Ride. That other than the Uncle Charlie, we'll call it the logo, whatever we'll call it. But a lot of that artistic work, that was him. He set it all up.
We sat down with him and talked to him and gave him some general rules, or not rules, just things we were looking for. And then, the rest was him. And then we had a little bit of back and forth about change this and do that. But, I would give all credit to Uncle Charlie on that. The new album artwork, we work with Stephen Trimble, who used to live here in Clear Lake. He's the one that does the graphic art for Scout. So if you are wearing a Scout shirt or hoodie, he designed it. And
the logo and the
all of the stuff. Anytime you see anything that in the paper or wherever, that the logos and a lot of the artwork is him. And he lived here. Now he lives in San Antonio, but we still work with him. That's who I was talking to. What delayed the interview for a minute, because we're talking about the location of this video shoot. But we liked his images. It fits with what we do, and I call him the sixth member of the band.
Nice.
So he's the one that's making the videos, and he's kind of taking the reins of the artistic direction of the band. And as long as we all work together and get along, why mess with it? It works. So we give him some feedback, and then he does it. It's like the T-shirt ideas I've been posting on social media, and things like that. And I took a lot of imaging from old silent horror movies and things like that, and created a bunch of Instagram posts with them, because I kind of want to paint a picture of what I want people to think of us, especially people that are new, to the table. So that way, it's just not a band or whatever. I kind of want to have it's been done before, but we're kind of doing it in a different manner. I mean, it's almost impossible to do something completely, never done before, image-wise or whatever. So we're taking the elements that I think people enjoy about us and that I like, and we're seeing how much we can tweak it and push the envelope, for us, that we're comfortable with. we're not going to come out in zombie suits or anything like that, but let's push the imaging as much as we can and make it interesting.
Well, that's a good point because I've known you